to make it say ISIS.
You know what I mean for next
No.
It's actually.
All right, guys.
It's like this.
We're going to begin.
It's like those big fat.
Yes, I have exam at 7, so
All
sorry.
right, guys. So we're gonna get started. If you haven't signed in yet, please go ahead and sign in at ufsec.com/signin. And we're gonna try to be like quick. Max has an exam he's gonna be presenting. He has an exam at 7, so he's got to be out.
Don't worry.
He's got to be out of here before 7. But yeah, hopefully you are prepared if you're a Windows user. If not, we have a backup plan for you guys. But yeah, make sure you sign in at ufsec.com/signin. And I just have like one announcement before we actually get started with the workshop. So this announcement is just about like getting involved with the club. If you want to be involved, we're going to be having elections for officer positions at our next general body meeting. And the details are up here. So the elections are going to be held March 22nd. That's at our next general body meeting. And the available positions are these: vice president, secretary, treasurer, and technical officer, which there'll be like 1 through 3 of those. And if you go to ufsec.com/apply, you'll find all the details there. And the application is like super tiny. You just have to make one little slide about yourself. And yeah, so just to repeat for those of you who walked in while I was saying that, if you want to get involved, we have these positions open: vice president, secretary, treasurer, technical officer, and all the information with details about what each one does and how to apply. It's just super easy process. You just fill out a Google form really. It's right there at ufsec.com/apply. This information will like be on our Facebook page, and it was sent out in the last email, and we'll try to advertise it even more. And if you have any questions about like if you're, hey, am I like qualified to run for this or whatever, just like hit us up. You can ask me or anyone here like after the meeting, or like Facebook message us or email us or whatever. If you're like hesitant to run or unsure about what you should run for, just like feel free to come up to any of us and ask us. And yeah, so just ufsec.com/apply and you'll be good to go. And the applications are due the Friday before the meeting that we will have elections. And yeah, so I'm going to hand it off to Max now, who will be giving the command line workshop.
Hey guys. Don't do this now. You're too late. All right. Why the command line? So I like to start always with a justification. I mean, you guys are all here, so obviously you see some value in it. Hi, Court. You see some value in it, but just for some more concrete points, maybe to reinforce why you're here. So the command line will make you a better programmer. It's programming language's baby brother. Without the shell, there could be no programming, and vice versa. And so the command line is often faster than GUI equivalents. I personally don't know how anyone uses a Git client that is not the terminal. It's just so much faster. So yes, it's harder to learn initially, but oftentimes like you don't want to go back. Teaches you how to program your computer with commands, especially scripting. You can do repetitive tasks. You can configure your entire computer with just typing stuff, which is honestly pretty awesome. It's lightweight, so most of the world's servers are Linux servers or even Linux based, and they don't have a screen. They don't have a GUI at all.
I thought most of the world's servers were Windows. I thought it was like 94% of the
Oh,
world's
no,
servers.
not at all. Like web servers, 70%. Yeah.
Use Linux?
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. In fact, Microsoft is one of the biggest contributors to the Linux kernel to make it work better on their cloud platform.
So then it's 94% of Windows boxes.
Oh yeah, no. So I'm talking servers,
Okay, yeah.
not like end user computers. Yeah. The computer's running the web pages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as people probably in a computer science or computer engineering field, it's almost 100% chance that the server that you will be deploying your code on does not have a screen. And so you'll have to use the terminal to do everything. So it's not really a choice. But it's fun. Don't worry about it. It's great. And yeah, it's lightweight. So you want to make your battery last faster, just turn off your GUI and only use the command line. But even now, I'm not that hardcore. Some people are. All right, so let's learn this stuff. So we're going to start with setup. Then we're going to do some just basics, because I know a lot of you never used it before, and I'm glad you're here. Then we'll learn about redirection, standard I/O. We'll do environment variables. So do a basic shell script just to kind of teach you the basics of it. And then we'll make a makefile, which I think is a pretty practical application that a lot of you could use, especially if you're in programming 2 or above. without further ado, so here's some setup instructions. Okay, survey. How many of you have the Windows Linux subsystem installed? Cool, wow, that's awesome. You guys are great, I love you. How many of you have Mac? Awesome, you're better. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, no.
Psych.
Linux? Anyone? Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I forgive you all. And then, okay, who came here completely unprepared and is just running Windows and has not been helped by our lovely chair? Just Henry? All right. We got a dispatcher on the way for Plan B. All right, you guys are awesome. I'm so glad that you guys have it all set up because you're going to have the real experience, not the watered down experience. Okay, so I'm actually, I don't know which one this is, so I'm just going to, oh, this is Mac. That's okay. We got to start somewhere. Oh, the link is wrong. That's awkward. CMD workshop. Okay, so for Mac, if you don't have it installed already, you're going to have to install Homebrew for the purposes of this tutorial. Homebrew is what we call a package manager, and all that means, it's a fancy term for saying it makes it really easy to install stuff. Linux and the Windows subsystem already have a package manager. Mac, we have to install one. So to install it on Mac, I already have it installed. Just go to brew.sh. Really awesome program, honestly. Like, you'll never regret this. So it could be this nice big line of text. Just copy that. And then for those of you who don't have it open, you can use, what's it called, Finder, to just search for terminal. There are fancier ones, like I use iTerm, for example, but they do the same thing.
How did you pull that up?
Oh, Finder?
Command space, right?
Command space.
That's awesome.
I love, Sergio loves the plant questions. But yeah, or you can be cool and like go to applications and utilities and all that. That's cool too.
What exactly is this?
So this is for Mac users. It installs, like on Ubuntu you have apt that install stuff. This is going to let us install some stuff on Mac.
Oh, so like apt-get.
Yeah, it's apt equivalent for Mac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mac doesn't have like git apt-get install or anything?
It has some stuff installed, but it doesn't have everything we need installed.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any questions, Mac users, on what to do here?
This is Dennis.
Awesome.
System figures out.
And so after that's installed, it'll ask your permission for everything. It's an awesome program, so definitely just listen to what it says. And then you're going to copy paste this line, which is just going to install some stuff. So install some programs we'll use in this tutorial. Just kidding. Never mind. All right. And then Linux users, which is all of you Windows guys, because you're actually running a real Linux system. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. And feel free to go to this URL. If you want to be lazy, you can just go to my website, maxfreesonggy.com. I know it's not the easiest thing to spell. I apologize. But here you find my very sophisticated homepage. And then from there you can go into the instructions. So for Linux,
Teach me your CSS skills.
yeah, I don't have very good UI skills, but I am the command line guy. I guess it makes sense. Okay, so for Linux or the Windows subsystem for Linux, you're going to just copy paste this line for me. So you could type it out by hand. Do not recommend it. And so what this is actually doing, so apt-get, or you can also just write apt, is what we call, again, a package manager. So it's going to let us install some stuff. So here we have some programs we'll use during the course of this tutorial. But for now, I just want you to install it. Right, so I will actually do this on the Linux subsystem, just how you guys might do it.
How'd you get there again? Sorry.
Sure. maxfreesonggy.com. Here he's writing in here. Do you want me to, should I make a tiny URL? Yeah, just go to maxfreesonggy.com on the board there. Here, I'll do it how you guys might do it on Windows. And again, this applies to the people who had it installed beforehand. If you are doing Plan B, you do not need to do this. Everything's installed for you. Cool. All right, so here I have a plain, freshly installed Windows subsystem, just like you guys.
What did I just install to my terminal?
But
Just copy and pasted something
yeah,
that you told
yeah.
me to do.
A rule of thumb is if it's in if it's in apt-get, it's probably safe.
Oh, really?
Okay. So I'm just literally going to copy it. Right-clicking, I know it's kind of ambiguous. Right-click will paste. and press enter. It's going to ask for your root password. You should have created this, or your password. You should have created this when you installed the subsystem. So whatever that password was. So yeah, with one line of code, we can install like 8 programs. Yeah.
What was the link for that?
Oh, it's right here, maxforsong. Here, can you read that from there? Okay, maxforsonky.com, and go to the Linux instructions. If you don't listen to me and go to the Windows one, it's okay. I'll lead you back here. All right, so it's just installing stuff, which is pretty awesome. I think this is great. I don't know about you guys. I'm very excited. Yes?
The people that are doing this right now don't have to do it.
Don't have to do it. Yeah, I already installed everything for them. So yeah, of course, we're probably going to like wear down the network a little bit, slowing down everyone's downloads, but that's okay. Anyone having any issues, either Mac or Windows users? Again, for you Mac users, go ahead and blindly copy paste that link to install Brew. And then you're going to
move something from my current directory to something else.
You're going to copy paste this line. Again, we just need some programs that are installed by default. Because I want to teach you cool stuff, not just boring default stuff. Yeah.
I'm getting your no build
For Homebrew? Did you copy it from here, or did you go to brew.sh? Try go, yeah, okay. They tell me not to do this, so try going to brew.sh and copying it directly from there. So they have the big link here. That's weird because that's their script, so hopefully.
No, that's something else I realized that I have on here that I want to use that I can't because it's in my root directory.
So yeah, guys, don't copy and paste
my
the
Windows
Homebrew thing to install it. Go ahead and go right off the website. There might be a problem. Oh.
I mean,
You also have to remember to go into MNC and then program files.
Oh, I
and then
see.
install programs there.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so that actually is working fine.
it's not
So
a
it looks like I extraneously included something. Oops. So for Mac users, where is it? Make is here. You don't need that. So here, so just remove that. I apologize. I'll edit the source and make you pretend I changed the website. There you go. You're none the wiser, right? I could update the site now, but GitHub takes forever to update my site, so it won't even matter.
If I wanted to move something,
To move something.
yeah, so I want to move a file in my home directory to, like, let's say a couple directories away.
Yep.
What do I tried MV my file name and specified where I wanted to go,
Yeah, should do it.
and it didn't.
Um,
So I said MV. What?
Are you trying to? So it might have to do with your home on there is not the same as your Windows home.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to move this from my home on here to my Windows home. So I said move burpsuite.jar into ..dash/c.
No, it's not the same. It's actually /mount/c/user/username. Welcome, new guys. Unfortunately, we got to move fast. So we're already at 20.
It says cannot create regular file.
Anyone having issues with these commands? Oh, anyone having issues installing anything? I know I accidentally did that make thing. Just remove make. Awesome. All right. Well, that was the boring stuff and potentially scary for some of you. But now we can get on to the fun stuff. All right, so let's start with the basics. So again, no experience necessary, right? So you're like, how do I use this thing at all? So as soon as you open the command line, at all times, you are in a directory somewhere. And so by default, you're in what we call the home directory, or on Windows, it might go ahead and, yeah, that's a little complicated concept on Windows I'll explain in a second. But just know, to find out where you are at any time, you can use the pwd command. And what pwd stands for is present working directory. So I'll do it on both my Mac terminal and my Linux terminal, or Windows terminal. Is that big enough for everyone to see in the back? Okay. So if I type pwd, get this big long path of where I am. I have a lot of directories and stuff. But if you're on a Mac, you'll see something like users Macs. And here I'm projects, all this stuff. Let me go to. Sorry, 1 second. Oop. Sorry. Yes. Stop. Oh. Sorry. Make it new. Okay, anyway, pwd, sorry about that. Was testing some stuff out beforehand. Sorry if I give you all motion sickness, I apologize. All right, so to create a directory, we use the mkdir command. So that's make directory. I actually just did it on accident. So from wherever you are at this point, go ahead and type mkdir and some directory name. It doesn't matter. Be creative. Avoid spaces. We'll go over that later. Hola, ¿cómo estás? It is case sensitive. You probably want to avoid uppercase, but I'm cool. So, all right. So make dir. All right. So how do we change where we are? Well, we use the c. Oh, sorry. So we made that directory. The ls command stands for list. So list tells us everything in the current directory. So here I have hola, ¿cómo estás? If you're on a Mac, you might see a lot of stuff. You might see downloads, desktop. If you're on Windows, you probably don't see anything except the directory you just made. Oops. All right. Now let's cd into that directory. So cd stands for change directory. So in this case, so pro tip. I'm going to have a lot of pro tips that aren't explicitly on the slide because, you know, the command line is all about these small little things that make you more productive. So if you start, for example, my directory name is pretty obnoxiously long, so I really don't want to type all that. That's really annoying. So I'm going to type the first 3 letters and then press tab. And we call that tab completion.
That's the best pro tip.
It is the best pro tip. But there's one thing you come out of here knowing, no tab completion. Because it just makes everything more easier. We don't want to type. And just a note, tab completion will only complete up to as much as it can know. I know that doesn't make any sense. So for example, if I was in my real home, as some of you may be, I have a whole bunch of stuff here. If I did cd and press tab, the regular one won't tell you, but it didn't complete my command because D is ambiguous. I have desktop, I have documents, I have downloads. So for example, if I wanted to cd to downloads, I'd probably type cd down, then press tab, because it's no longer ambiguous. So it's kind of just pro tip. Another pro tip, if you're on Bash on Windows, and you're like, I know it starts with a D, but I forgot what it is, press tab twice. It'll actually tell you what available options are. So for example, unfortunately we don't have anything here. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have anything to show us. I'll just pretend. So CDD, right? It's not, it only knows DO because that's the only common letters. But if I press it twice, it goes ahead and tells me the options. Cool. All right, so let's CD into that directory we just made. I didn't make it on Windows, I'll go ahead and do that, since I know most of you are on Windows. I'll use command line completion. All right, cool. And we can use that pwd command again to show us where we are. So here I'm no longer in my home directory, Macs. I'm actually in SCC test. Pretty expected. All right, so how do we get out? How do we escape this trap? Well, there's 2 special files, dot and dot. So what happens if I cd just dot? If I type pwd again, or look to my fancy thing to the left, I can see I actually haven't gone anywhere. Dot represents the current directory. And you might think that's pretty useless, and for changing directories it is, but you'll see why that's important later on in the tutorial. So if we want to escape and go up, what I'm actually going to type is cd dot. which is a link really to the top directory. So if I type pwd again, we see that I'm no longer in SCC test, I'm back in my home directory. And so just a note for Windows guys. So again, Microsoft is actually emulating the Linux kernel when you use this, which is cool, except that it kind of separates your files a little bit. So that's one minor downside. So to get to our files, you're going to want to type something like this. So it's in this folder called mount. So /mount C. I know, unfortunately, it's not shorter. And then whatever your username is on Windows from here. So again, we can use tab completion here to see, oh, I forgot what my username is. Oh, look, so here's Max. That's probably it for me. So if I do that and then do ls, we see all my stuff.
Oh boy.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So there's my downloads and documents. Oops.
Now, if you type n there, it won't tab complete ntusers.dat. Why is that?
Say again?
If you try and type nt,
Or if you type capital N and you double tap key or tab.
It's pretty sensitive.
Right, so you type capital N.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
And so ntusers.dat isn't showing up. Is that because it's
That,
only a
it's just
directory?
not a folder.
Got it. It only
Yeah.
transfers to the
Yeah, you can't CD to a file.
So you'd have to cast that.
Correct.
Okay.
Cool. All right, everyone with me? Awesome. Whew. 30 minutes. All right. We got this, guys. All right, let's learn some more fun stuff. So this is one of the programs we installed, Fortune. So to to run a program that is installed, you just type its name. So in this case, Fortune's already installed, if you did all the previous steps correctly. And if you know it, it gives you like a witty phrase or some Fortune. It's a great program. I love this program. So we can type it again. It'll give us more. There's like hundreds of thousands in here, so you'll never run out. It's a great program. So cool. Fortune's installed. We just type its name. That's awesome, Max. Another program we installed, Piglet. Just as useful.
Question.
Yes.
So these are all like Fortune Piglet is like a program that like I could have written in C++ or Java, right?
No, it's not. Again, you'll see the difference between the programs you write and installed programs in just a second.
Okay.
But thank you. Great, Sergio. Anyway, yes. So Figlet's another program. So we type the word Figlet and then we type some text. So, I mean, obviously I'm doing Maxwell. That's my name. And it's gonna like, make a cute little big version of my name. This is actually pretty useful if you like want to be obnoxious and put your name in comments or something. You can like do that. That's like a header. I don't know. That's cool, I guess. It has its uses, okay? It's just useful. But oftentimes taking advantage of the terminal is just learning the right programs to use. So these aren't particularly useful, but the ones you might Google on Stack Overflow and such are. So let's go into more what Sergio was talking about. So what about my programs? What about programs you compile and run? And a lot of you might know this stuff, but not why you do what you do. So let's go ahead and download a C++ program. So wget is another awesome command line program that downloads something from the internet. So here I'm actually going to give it a URL to my website, and it's going to download this CPP file.
So wget is wget.
Yeah, Wget. So I'll go ahead and type it here. You can always type clear if you're ever like sick of having a bunch of stuff on your screen. So I'm going to cd back into that test directory because I don't want to clutter up my stuff. So ls, I'm going to ls, okay, SEC test. Okay, wget, max, raise, hockey, man, why do you have such an obnoxious last name, dude? CMD workshop. Slash SEC, is it rules? Rules. SEC rules. That's easy. So I'm going to press enter. It's going to say, hey, blah, 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 HTTP stuff, cool. And it downloaded it. So if I ls again, I see the file there. Awesome.
What's the file?
Say again?
What is the file called?
So what is the URL you mean? Yeah, it's there.
I actually tried to figure it without any text, and now it's not letting me do anything.
Yes, so it's actually waiting for input. Go ahead and press Control C. So that actually is a good point. If at any point you're in a program and it's doing something you don't like, as you might have done with your own C++ programs, for example, you can press Control-C to kill the program. And I actually use Control-C. It works in the terminal too. So I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oops, download it again. Blah, 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 I'm typing something, and I really don't want to like erase it all. Like, this is so much work. Like, look how long this is taking. So I can just press Control-C. That's how, yeah. It's a real problem, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's useful.
It's useful. Control-C. All right. Cool. So we have a C++ program, SEC rules.cpp. So many of you might be familiar with how we compile programs. So all of you, part of the package that we installed was a compiler. So we're in G++, SEC rule. Of course, we can tab complete here. I'll go ahead and specify an output name. I sometimes don't do this out of laziness, but you know. I'm going to run that command. So what that's going to do is create a file called secrules.out. So I ls again. We see it. So for installed programs, we can just type the name of the program because for reasons that are beyond this tutorial, the shell is able to find it and execute it. But for our programs, we need to specify a location of where the executable is. So where is this executable? It's in this directory, right? So what is this directory? It's dot. Whoa! So anyway, so dot in this directory, man, execute secrules.out. So you guys might have typed that a million times and not known why you did it. It's because we needed to give it a location, and dot is the location. So we run that. It's like a really dumb program. Dude, SEC is the bomb. So it's like how much do you love it. Notice there's no bad options because, like, you know, I guess quit is a bad option. But now we run some options. On type 3, it says some stupid text.
Nice. I guess what I was asking earlier was Fortune and Piglet. They're basic programs like this. Like me or you could have written them. I guess like
I see what you're
earlier,
saying.
like I didn't realize that like when I ran G++ or Fortune or some command on the terminal, it's just executing a program like we just did.
True.
With its sec rules file, like executable. I mean, we just don't provide a path. The path we're providing is // for the current directory, and then execute the SEC rules program. When we just run Fortune or just run Piglet, it knows where those executables are for those programs. I like just learned this like last summer. It blew my mind. How does it know where they are?
So it's.
I guess we don't have to go into that.
I mean, no, it's an awesome thing to know, and it's a lot of things that people get confused about. So we haven't even learned environment variables yet. We'll learn that in the second half. But just to put it quickly, there's this special variable called path, and so anything that's on this, the terminal will automatically execute. So again, we'll learn more about this later, but you know, just to be baller. So if I add the current directory, oh no, what have you made me do? Oh, wait. This is all your fault, Sergio. All right. Then I can just actually, then I can go even in some other directory and just run SEC rules. So you're right. It's actually not really that special. It's just a little bit complicated beyond this tutorial.
Blew my mind.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, // if you didn't do that magical thing I just did, that blew your mind. Cool. So yeah, so it takes in some numbers. That's kind of the key takeaway here. Take in some numbers, output some text. That'll be important later. So yeah, if you haven't downloaded this, I would recommend it. Okay, so speaking of knowing the right command, why don't we just download my site? Why don't we just piss off GitHub, which is where I host it? And I say this because some stuff we'll use in there later. So let's just do that. Let's just download it. So I put a lot of flags here so that you guys could use this command yourself. So I know some of you guys have taken digital design. Some of you will have to take digital logic. What this command lets you do is download and mirror entire sites. And the reason there's so many flags is because it'll only download what it needs for this particular site. So for example, if I didn't have all these flags, Dr. Stitt's site, it would download every course he teaches. not really what we want. I don't know. Wget's really powerful. So I don't know.
Wait, does Wget return the HTML?
Yeah, we'll return everything. You get the whole site.
What do you like PHP files and all that? Or?
So it'll get the rendered HTML in this case. This mostly works on like static sites. But yeah, you could download all of Wikipedia, though they wouldn't like you very much at all. All right, so wget -- mirror. I'm gonna give you all motion sickness here. I'm breaking the third wall or whatever it is. I'm cheating. Oops. Fourth wall. That's fourth wall. Copy. Oops. So Control C because I want to start over. Right click to paste. You guys can type that in if you want. It's not a big deal. You don't have to type it in. I'll type everything that you need on the screen. But I don't know. It's a cool thing. So I press enter. It's going to be like blah, 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 blah. So it actually is downloading the installers I have.
Just do it from my
That's
side.
cool. I don't care.
Nice.
So like on, for example, Digital Logic page, it'll actually download Quartus. It's part of the site, so it's going to download it. So if I ls, I actually see my website right there, maxpersonality.com. There's my CMD workshop folder.
Well,
And here's everything we're probably going to go over today. So pretty cool. Again, you don't have to do this, but it's awesome and done. And I love Wget. It's a cool program.
You can do that on your website?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, things like Canvas are complicated because you have to sign in. Kind of hard to sign in on this case, but yeah, any static site for sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. Cool.
well,
All right.
that didn't just get everything. It got every single file and structured everything.
Yeah.
How does it do that?
It's magic. I don't know. I mean, I didn't write it, but the cool thing is we don't have to know. But one thing it actually does that's really cool is that it actually rewrites all the links and stuff. So for example, I gotta find where this is. Oh wait, never mind.
How do you copy in terminal?
Copy is the CP command. I know. This is CP, MV, or like boring stuff that I usually
No,
don't
like
go over.
copy literally a line of text you type like a command.
So pro tip, you can press the up and down arrows to like go through your previous commands. I do that all the time. I probably do it subconsciously. So if you ever like type something long and want to do it again, do that. It even works if you kill it, like I think, pretty sure if I kill this, and then restart bash. And press up, it's all there. So if you type something like 3 days ago, you're like, crap. Just go find it real quick. Of course, now I gotta change my font size again.
Let's mess with Google.
72, that's pretty big. Cool. All right. There we go. Awesome. Oh no, guys, 41 minutes till my exam starts. Pretty bad timing.
If I can take over on my laptop and switch off whenever you
Yeah,
want.
absolutely.
You want to do that right now?
Oh, right now?
I mean, whenever, it's up to you whenever you want to leave.
Oh yeah, like a good
6:21.
stopping point? Yeah, we'll do it in just a second.
This is how you make a phishing scam.
Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna close this. We won't even bother with the Mac one. Okay, so again, being efficient on the command line is knowing these little things, like tab completion is a huge one. The up and down arrow will save you a million
somebody
times.
go to
Because
this?
oftentimes the command you want is just a slight change on one you typed in the past. In addition, there's some other things that I particularly use a lot. So the ampersand operator. So what this does is it allows you to run commands in sequence, but only if the previous one was successful. So I use this all the time when I'm compiling programs. So G++, for example, scc-rules.cpp, and then ampersand, we start a whole new command, and basically it's like, hey, if my compilation didn't have any errors, go ahead and run the program. Because typically it's like you're working on something, you type, compile, run, see if it works. Type, compile, run, see if it works. And oftentimes, it gets cumbersome to compile it and then run it in 2 separate steps. This exclamation mark, I don't actually use it a lot. It was one of the posters for an old version of this tutorial. But it's pretty cool. It's like one of those things that makes you like an elite hacker if you know. So for example, G++, here I'll actually give an example of both these. So ls, I'll go sec test. Actually, yeah, sec test. So if we, so G++, sec rules.cpp, oops, not cpp, really obnoxious. Mute. I can't mute. Sec rules.out. So ampersand, oops. Just an example. So it's going to recompile it and run it. And for example, so nano is just a terminal text editor. Generally speaking, you probably don't want to use a terminal text editor. That's why I don't go over them in this class. I don't use one really ever. But for things like this, they can come in handy. Nano is the easiest one to learn. So for example, if I mess something up, and then try to compile it again, it's not going to try and run that file, which is pretty cool. It's just going to like say, hey, you suck at programming. And then the exclamation mark thing. So G++. This is one particular example. So what it actually does is it fills in from your last command. Oh right, I messed it up. That's awkward. I'm like, oh crap, I meant to name it something. So exclamation mark is actually going to fill in that previous command. And then I'm going to add a -o. This is cool. And so that's the command it actually ran, and we're done. It is cool now.
So pretty much just like copy and paste it right there.
Yeah. Yep. Copies the last command and just paste it back in.
You want to switch?
Part 2. It's true. Okay, after this.
I want you to have time to like stop recording and put it on the flash drive. No?
Yeah, I don't have a flash drive.
Oh, you,
I didn't grab it, remember?
really? Okay.
Yeah, because we'll put it up later.
Okay.
Okay, we'll finish up this slide and then Sergio will take over. So some other miscellaneous things that these will really bite you if you don't know, you're not aware of them. So spaces are kind of the enemy of command lines, or at least files with spaces. It makes sense, right? Because spaces are how we like delimit different options and stuff. So file name with spaces, it's like how do we tell the command line we're doing that? Well, the answer is either quotes or backslashes. So if I have so for example, here's an example of the move command. So the move command actually moves files like drag and drop would, but it's also used to rename files. Because in the Unix world, moving a file from one place to another is the same as, or renaming a file is the same as moving it to a different name. Sorry. All right. So program with spaces.cpp. So ls here. We got program with spaces now. And I think if you tab complete, the default is that it'll actually escape them for you with backslashes. But I could also put them in quotes.
So that's what we name, you say?
Oh, this is more for your knowledge. You don't have to like run these commands. But it's just like if you have a file with spaces, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, but the mv command.
This?
Yeah, mv.
You're asking what this does, or?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's in this case it's actually renaming it. So it's taking the SEC rules and moving it to program with spaces.cpp. So it's not.
But you could use it to move it to another directory.
But yeah, you could also
Just put in the directory name, like Wizardry or something like that.
right. So I could also like you could even using your newfound knowledge, you could even like move it to the directory above. Right? ... So if it's no longer here. So if I move up, there it is. So yeah, it moves as well. It's a multi-purpose tool. Okay, yeah, we do need to switch. Sergio. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Because my test starts at 7, it's not. Everyone get in the room at 7, it's like, begin. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, that was just bad timing. I actually had an exam earlier today too, so that was fun.
This guy, he's hardcore.
Yeah.
I would have bailed on the workshop.
Nah, never. It's my, I love patience. One last thing that I'll just kind of conceptually explain while we're switching. That's the tilde, or squiggly as I like to call it, represents your home directory directly. So here, if you want to go to, for example, downloads real quick, this would be a great way. It doesn't work on Windows because of the directory issues, but this is very helpful on Mac. And if you echo it, echo squiggle, it actually will print it out. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, just make sure you like stop the recording, put it to some place.
Yeah. Where is it? Is it recording?
Yeah, here it goes.
It's probably here.
Yeah, click on the menu bar, the stop button.